Hey everyone, Arthur here. Let's talk about Keylocker. Keylocker is a turn-based RPG mixed with rhythm game that takes heavy inspiration on the Mario RPG series, Chrono Trigger, and Undertale, but with a lot of personality and characteristics that both set it apart from everything else and make it a game definitely not for everyone, which makes it a great game for the first entry in this revamped review series that I'm starting right now, where the focus is defining what kind of gamers are most likely to enjoy each game. So let's find that out with this very peculiar and interesting game here called Keylocker. Welcome to the channel, this is From the Void. Okay, we're gonna divide the reviews in 4 categories. Graphics worth 2 points, music and sound for another 2, gameplay and challenge, those are closely tied together, and they're worth 4 points, because gameplay is king, and the final 2 points go to the spirit. Yeah, spirit. I changed it some from back then, and I'm not necessarily following any particular order anymore. And for Keylocker here, I have to start with the spirit, where we analyze the more subjective features that make a game unique, such as atmosphere, story, setting, characters, level design, interface, and more. And there's a lot of spirit in Keylocker, for better or worse. The game takes place in Saturn, in a far future where humans don't even exist. All characters are androids. This is also a world devoid of music. Music creation is something almost no one can do apparently, and listening to music is forbidden because it somehow creates a form of energy here, and they don't want anyone doing that. So yeah, this game's setting and story are totally bonkers. I appreciate how creative it is, but it's so disconnected from our reality that it's too hard to find any connection with it, including the characters. I'd even go as far as saying that it would take an open-minded player to even accept how outlandish it is and not find it off-putting. But even then, it's hard to consider this a positive. To explain this better, I should compare it to Undertale, because there's plenty of crazy stuff there too, but the story and characters are all much more relatable there, with much more of what we call humanity to them. On the other hand, the overarching story is more relatable and interesting. Some powerful, almost godlike creatures called the Satellites basically created this place for the Doppelganger Society, that's how they call the androids, and with their awesome power they made this place free of disease and of prejudice. But to control it, they subjugate the people, limiting their freedoms in many ways. It's interesting to see each side's points of view, because on one hand this is a miraculous society, but then again not having freedom makes everything meaningless. So you're trying to get to the bottom of the struggle here, controlling a rebel girl, to see if you can free the people from subjugation, which is a more relatable objective than the setting, which is nice. I also love the different classes in this game you can choose from in the beginning. They're very consequential both to the gameplay as well as to the story, so this also presents a very nice replayability aspect. 2 of the classes are defensive and 2 offensive. Then a different set of 2 classes is more attuned to the musical aspect, while the other 2 are more physical inclined. That's actually my favorite thing about Keylocker, the balance of defense, offense, physical attacks, and energy attacks. They make the battles very interesting. I love when RPGs actually make defending meaningful. It actually does 2 things in this game. You create an extra layer of LP so you can withstand more damage, and you will be able to counterattack. But you can only counter if you do the Mario and Luigi style button inputs correctly or almost correctly. If you're late or too early, you won't counter at all. But if you do it perfectly, you avoid all damage and dish out a powerful counter. It feels great to pull this off. Right now, it's very important to say that all attacks and defenses have a timing input requirement. Overall, the timing of the inputs is hard, requiring you to learn the enemies, even on the easiest difficulty, and it's by design. So this is a watershed aspect for sure. If you like the Mario and Luigi style of RPG, this game's great, but if you dislike this, it's probably best to avoid Keylocker completely. However, on normal difficulty, I found the tells of the enemies easy to learn, and that remained true for the whole game, while I also felt that I had enough ways to circumvent tough situations by using items or changing my strategy. The game allows you to restart the battle if you fail, so the punishment punishment for dying is easy to withstand for most. Still on the battle balance, there is a second bar there in yellow which represents the electrical power. And this is not just another name for mana. EP can be depleted to increase the power of your non-electric attacks, making them super powerful. And those already target the enemy's life directly, so this is very important. Or you can use it to serve as another layer for defense, because electrical attacks will target this bar first and then the life bar if it depletes the electrical bar. Electrical attacks can also absorb more electricity, increasing the EP bar. So yeah, it's a lot to take in. The game explains it but not super well, but what helps a lot in learning is that you can quickly restart a battle after dying, which will happen quite a lot in the beginning. And I know that some people are not gonna like that, but bottom line, I loved the battle system. Deep, hard as heck many times, full of strategy and immensely satisfying. This game is also full of information. That's something some will enjoy while others won't. There are lots of stats, items, weapons, and abilities to consider. The skill tree in particular is awesome. You can assign some of the skills to specific attacks. I enjoyed it a lot. It kind of replaces the leveling up system in a refreshing way. What I didn't enjoy though was how all the information was presented. It felt all over the place and overwhelming, and it kept coming non-stop. I feel like this could have been cooked better to remove clutter, both in the sheer amount of different things and in the interface itself, providing information in a cleaner, more easy to digest way. On the graphics department, there's a lot I love, but some things I dislike. The character portraits are excellent. The different classes which you can pick not only for the main character make a lot of difference, including to the character sprites, and you can grab helmets that change their appearance in battle, and the colors you choose also affect the sprites. This is a really nice touch. So I really do like the more important character sprites, including all the animations in battle and outside of it, but there is definitely a bit of inconsistency with sprites of enemies and less important characters and NPCs. Some of them feel like they don't belong. It's hard to explain, so let me show you. These here, for instance, look completely off to me, and the fingers with red nails for legs, guys, I don't know about those. And there are more examples through the game. This also added to the overall disconnect I felt with the world they created for the game. Furthermore, the devs also had trouble with the isometric perspective. Your characters clip in a non-realistic way in front or behind the scenery, which is a noticeable negative. So overall, graphics are positive. Pros outweigh the cons here for sure, but some problems kept it from being excellent. And finally, a major positive in the game is music and sound. This is a magnificent aspect in Keylocker, and a very important one too, since the game has a musical inclination in the story and gameplay. So this aspect also affects the spirit of the game. The songs are awesome throughout. They're kick-ass many times and also have a somber, kind of melancholic feel to them. I really enjoyed the music here, and there are even some honest-to-God Guitar Hero gameplay sections. Very well made too, with 3 difficulty options, lag calibration. The gameplay is the early Guitar Hero style with L's and R's, which I love, and it even rewards you with a proper scoring and everything. Just awesome. Sound effects are great, especially in battle, and on top of it all, the music ramps up when battle starts, which is pretty cool. They nailed the audio side in Keylocker above and beyond, with even lyrics in English or in the in-game language. Seriously, this is impressive stuff. So alright, for the conclusion, which I know many of you jump right into, and that's okay, I am proposing something different. Looking back at reviews, especially of older games that were panned by critics, but later valued by people a lot more, it became undeniable to me that even within the target audience, in this case RPG and rhythm game fans, most games have a perfect audience. A group of people that will love them dearly, while another group of people will dislike them. And there will be a lot of other people somewhere in between too. So while I will give this a score, I will also give each game a score interval and describe who this is for at each end of the interval. So for Keylocker, graphics sit between 1.5 and 1.7 out of 2. Issues with isometric clipping and some undoubtedly lacking enemy designs are dropping the score here, but some people will like the outlandish sceneries and characters better than others. For music and sound, I'm giving this a perfect 2 straight up, but on gameplay and challenge things get really divisive, going between a 1.7 and 3.8 out of 4 because you gotta be into demanding games. Keylocker has a lot of informations to learn. The rhythm parts will take a good amount of training, the defensive and offensive actions, as well as the energy and physical attacks, and how the consequences of all that make the RPG battles really deep here. Seriously, this is a hard game overall, so this is the most divisive aspect for sure, even within the target audience of rhythm plus RPG fans. And finally, the spirit, where all the more subjective aspects go. This is where the game falters more, independently of your preferences, with a setting and story very hard to relate and an overwhelming amount of clutter. So in this one, it fluctuates between a 1.1 and 1.3 out of 2. And with that, this is the interval that Keylocker sits in, with a brief description of each type of gamer that will be on each end of the spectrum. I'm also happy to give it a final score of mine. Keylocker is an excellent game with a lot of heart and soul, so I would give it a 8.3. And that's it, guys. Hope you like this new review method I'm trying here. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and stay tuned for more. This channel is partially and most importantly funded by the generosity of patrons in Patreon. Thank you so much for all your contributions. They are keeping me going, truly. And thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.